Tamatoa, the premise is simple: spam all your shiny items to allow Tamatoa to quest for ungodly amounts while Maurice draws you cards to refill your hand. So here's the plan: 10 hours of Tamatoa only to see if this card has been secretly broken this whole time, or if losing to a single Dragonfire makes this card unplayable. In these 10 hours, I hope to find the perfect 60 to make Tamatoa a meta threat. Let's get straight into it. Although I hadn't played a single game yet, I was very hopeful. Unfortunately, I lost.
Defeat.
A lot of games.
Defeat. Defeat.
During the second hour, I knew something was wrong. Was it my list, or just my overall decision making being poor? I took a look at some tournament results to see what other Tamatoa players were trying, and came across this list that got top 8 in the Lorcana HQ tournament a while back. I spent these next 2 hours tweaking the list to see if I could fix the main issue: spot removal. If you don't know what spot removal is, basically it's just cards like Dragonfire, Let Go, cards that can just pick and choose what they want to banish. And in this case, when we rely so heavily on a single character to put the work in, we need to find a way to protect it. And this is where the saviour of the 10 hours arrives: Aurora. By giving all other characters the keyword ward, we make removing this Tamatoa a whole lot more difficult for the opponent, and this is where I changed the deck dramatically to this 60. It was still a little weaker than I wanted, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. We're reaching the halfway point now, and I feel like we're making some good progress. Now we have a way to protect Tamatoa. It's all about making it consistent. Managing to play Aurora, Tamatoa and Maurice is going to be expensive, so I added all the ramp options I could while still having room for items and cards to protect us from losing to aggro. This new list felt great, and I was winning so much more consistently, and it felt better than ever before. There was just one issue: aggro. I needed to find an answer to this style of deck, or I would constantly be losing to Cuscos, Lilos, Simbas and all of the annoying aggro cards. And I had 2 paths to go down. I could either stick with Ruby and try the new Shift Aladdin package to allow me to steal lore back from the opponent, or I could make the swap to Steel and have access to Tinkerbell and all the good removals Steel has, like Grab Your Sword. But with only 3 hours left, I had to make the right choice. On one hand, we already had spent all this time learning the Ruby version of the deck, and we would only have to swap out a few cards to fit in our new Aladdin package. On the other hand, Steel has access to so much more card draw and way more board control. After a lot of consideration, I ultimately decided that Aladdin would be better. Since it makes the aggro match so much easier, and we've already put all this time in, I thought why not, just stick with Ruby and then we'll see it out from there. We were rapidly approaching the end of the 10 hours now, and it felt like we had everything: Aurora to help us beat control, a solid ramp strategy to outpace mid-range, and Aladdin to help us beat aggro. All that stuff now is to spend the last few hours playing and tweaking any minor changes, and we were there. The perfect Tamatoa 60. Okay, so the 10 hours are complete now, and here are my 3 major tips I learned on this journey. Number 1, play Maurice only when you can play a few items with him to make sure you get at least some card draw. Number 2, Tamatoa is the key of this deck, but you can win without him. He is just an insane finisher when you finally do drop him down. Number 3, don't underestimate your items. You have so much utility with your items, and you have a lot of them to work with. Make sure you're using them to their fullest potential. And without further ado, here it is. In my 10 hours of testing, the best 60 I could come up with to make Tamatoa a meta deck.